This is just a fairly short video that I hope will help some students when revising conflict and tension, which is the first exam coming up if you happen to be doing the AQA spec. What I want to focus on is the build up to World War II, because this could come up in a 16 marker or possibly an account question. It could quite easily come up something along the lines of the Nazi-Soviet Pact was the main reason that World War II broke out in 1939. And what we're going to do, we're going to look at possibly several other factors, and there's a specific revision technique that I want you to focus on for this video. We will remind ourselves of the build up to World War II after 1936. Now, some students may want to discuss things that happened before 1936. The Anglo-German Naval Agreement, for example, in 1935, that allowed Germany to rebuild some of its navy, about a third of the size of Britain's navy, which rolled back the Treaty of Versailles, especially when we remember those military terms. Only 100,000 soldiers were allowed and 15,000 naval personnel. Let's have a look at these events from 1936 until the outbreak of war in September 1939. And let's see if you think there is an event that you can take out, and without that event, World War II might not have happened. So the escalation to World War II from 1936. 7th of March 1936, German soldiers marched back into the Rhineland. Had they been challenged by French, Belgian or British soldiers, they would have retreated. Lord Lothian, a British politician, famously said that the Germans were merely marching into their own back garden. Hitler viewed this event as a success and grew more confident that he could roll back the terms of the Treaty of Versailles with little opposition from Britain and France. October 1936, the Rome-Berlin Axis is signed. This is a pact between Hitler and Mussolini to supply arms to Franco, who was establishing a fascist dictatorship in Spain during a civil war. 25th of November 1936, the Anti-Comintern Pact was signed between Germany and Japan. This was an agreement that they would work together against communism. They were later joined by Mussolini of Italy. 12th of March 1938, Germany declared its Anschluss with Austria. This re-established the union that was forbidden by the Treaty of Versailles. Many people in Britain and France saw this as an annexation, which means to be taken by force, yet both countries did nothing. September 1938, the Munich Agreement allowed Hitler to have the Sudetenland region of Czechoslovakia. Stalin was not invited to the conference and was angry that Britain and France had allowed Hitler to expand east. This led to a breakdown in relations between Russia and the Western Allies and made it difficult to form any alliance with Russia against Hitler. March 1939. Hitler invades the rest of Czechoslovakia. This ends the policy of appeasement that British Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain had when dealing with Hitler. 23rd of August 1939. Hitler and Stalin signed the Nazi-Soviet Pact. This was an agreement that Russia would not go to war if Germany invaded Poland, and that Hitler would share the land with Russia. Hitler could now avoid a war on two fronts. Okay, I hope you've had a chance to pause at those events and to see if there is an event that you could take out that might have prevented World War II from happening. Some students like to do this revision technique the other way around. And let me just demonstrate that. Now, usually with this exercise, what you do, you would eliminate an event that if you take it out of this timeline, World War II may not have happened. Now, some students like to approach this the opposite. So, for example, they might take out the 25th of November because they don't think actually it made a great deal of difference. The Anti-Comintern Pact certainly united Germany and Japan and created an alliance against communism, but it didn't prevent the Nazi-Soviet Pact of 1939. Now, if you're answering a question on the wider implication of the policy of appeasement, here are the 4 events that are really linked to Britain's policy of appeasement, and you will then decide whether or not it was appropriate. Ultimately, we know it didn't work, but if we put ourselves within the context of the time, consider if there was any other alternative. I hope this video has been helpful when revising some of the content in the 1930s, building up to the Second World War, but also helping you to access some of those higher level evaluative and analytical skills that really are needed for the factor question in the 16 marker. Good luck in your upcoming exams, and I hope to be able to make a few more videos to help you in the meantime.